So I decided to give the Australian Second Commando Regiment a tier rating of a B. So who are they? So now we're heading back to Australia. Most people outside the Special Operations community have heard of the Australian SAS or the SAR. Far fewer have heard of the Second Commando Regiment. That doesn't mean that they're any less elite. In fact, Australia has deliberately structured its Special Operations Command so that these two organizations complement each other rather than compete against one another. Generally speaking, SASR has historically focused more on long-range reconnaissance and special reconnaissance and strategic special operations, similar to our RRC. The Second Commando Regiment was built around a stronger emphasis on direct action, domestic counterterrorism, hostage rescue, and high-risk strike operations. Think more like your Green Berets, your SEALs, and a bit of your Delta Force from the counterterrorism perspective. So think of it this way. If SASR is Australia's strategic reconnaissance organization, the Second Commandos are Australia's precision assault force. Of course, there's overlap between the two, and both units are capable of conducting a wide range of missions, but each has developed into its own area of expertise. The Second Commando Regiment traces its origins to the reserve commando units before evolving into today's full-time Special Operations Regiment. Over the past 2 decades, particularly during the global war on terror, the regiment matured rapidly. Deployments to Afghanistan provided extensive combat experience and allowed the organization to refine its direct action capabilities alongside Australian and coalition special operations partners. Today, it forms one of the 2 principal maneuver elements within Australia's Special Operations Command. The Second Commando Regiment specializes in direct action, counterterrorism, hostage rescue, special reconnaissance, special recovery operations, military assistance, domestic counterterrorism response. Unlike larger conventional forces, they're optimized for small unit precision operations. Whether that's conducting a raid overseas or responding to a terrorist incident at home, they're designed to move quickly, strike decisively, and withdraw before the enemy can ever react. One thing Australia does exceptionally well is maintaining high selection standards. Selection into the Second Commando Regiment is physically demanding, mentally exhausting, and designed to identify operators who can perform under sustained pressure. Candidates must demonstrate leadership, problem solving, physical endurance, mental resilience, teamwork. After selection, operators continue into an extensive training pipeline covering close quarter battles, urban operations, explosive breaching, parachuting, fast roping, helicopter operations, advanced weapons, medical skills, communications. Like every organization on this list, graduation isn't the finish line. It's simply the beginning of a career spent constantly training. The first strength of the Commandos is professionalism. Australia consistently produces outstanding special operations soldiers. Despite having a much smaller military than the United States, the Australian SOF enjoys an excellent reputation among allied forces. And another strength is interoperability. Australian Commandos has spent years operating alongside American and British special operation units, and I can speak from personal experience after doing an entire 1-month operation with the Australian Commandos. It was one of my most pleasant experiences working with a foreign special operations unit. This has produced a very high level of tactical compatibility. They're also exceptionally well trained in close quarter battles and direct action. If you need a precision assault force, the Second Commando Regiment is among some of the best in the world. Finally, they benefit from Australia's ability to maintain relatively small organizations. Smaller units often allow for closer leadership relationships and consistent professional standards. So why are they B tier? The answer comes down to funding, organizational scale, and strategic reach. Australia simply doesn't have the same budget of the United States or even the United Kingdom. It doesn't possess the same global intelligence architecture. It doesn't maintain the same worldwide deployment infrastructure. This isn't a criticism of Australia, it's simply reality. Another factor is mission diversity. The regiment excels at direct action and counterterrorism, but it doesn't possess the same breadth of responsibilities as organizations like the Green Berets, nor does it operate inside the national mission ecosystem that supports organizations like Delta or SEAL Team 6. One thing you'll notice throughout this video is that funding matters. Better funding doesn't automatically create better operators, but it does create better organizations. It provides better training facilities, more repetitions, more advanced technology, greater intelligence support, more opportunities to innovate. The Second Commando Regiment is extremely well equipped by Australian standards, but Australian Special Operations Command simply operates with a much smaller budget. And they even operate with a smaller budget than the UK, which the UK operates with a much smaller budget than the U.S. Special Operations Command and its JSOC ecosystem. That naturally affects organizational capability. This is another organization where the ranking shouldn't be mistaken for criticism. The Second Commando Regiment is unquestionably an elite special operations force. If they were conducting a direct action mission alongside many of the units we've already discussed, they'd fit right in. The reason they rank B isn't operator quality, Its organizational capability. The Second Commando Regiment is an outstanding organization, but one operating within a smaller national framework and a smaller budget than many of the units ranked above it. One thing that Australia deserves tremendous credit for is recognizing that one special operations unit can't do everything. Instead of trying to force one organization to cover every mission, they developed two complementary units. One focused more heavily on strategic reconnaissance and long-range special operations, the other specializing in precision assault, counterterrorism, and direct action. The division of labor has served Australia extremely well.